I love the liveliness, the constant feeling of energy.
Definitely the world-class education.
The diversity. Nah, the nightlife.
I would say the people.
For me, it's the stories. My name is Waja, and welcome to Toronto Story Archive. Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Toronto Story Archive. You know, if I have one regret about my university career, I studied business at the Ted Rogers School of Management, it's that I didn't do enough networking. Now, don't get me wrong, I definitely went to a lot of networking events, because that's how you save money on food as a student. You sign up for as many catered networking events as you can, load up on sandwiches, and then lurk around the exit after the event so you can double down on the uneaten food, thus maximizing your tuition. But no, seriously, going out into the working world, I realized very quickly that networking is critical to growing your career. My first position out of university was in fact landed through networking. The company in question was looking to host a unique charity event involving a local Quidditch team. At the time, I played beater for Valhalla Quidditch, a newly formed Quidditch team within the community. But, that's a story for another time. This week, I have the pleasure of chatting with Jim Pagiamtzis. Jim has traveled all across Ontario in the pursuit of engaging in and instructing on active networking. He is the author of the book, Get Connected 21st Century Online and Offline Strategies, hosts the Blog Talk radio show, Spotlight on Success, and is the director of the Public Speakers Association in Toronto. Coming at us from the Annex, welcome Jim.
Thank you very much for the introduction. Looking forward to speaking with you tonight.
Jim, I have to open with asking you the one major question that we ask every guest on Toronto Story Archive, and that is, what is one thing you love about Toronto?
The one thing that I really love about Toronto is our diversity. We have a very diverse city, and that gives us a lot of opportunities to meet many great people from different cultures.
So, Jim, you've told us a lot. Well, we know a lot about you from your bio, right? You're the author of a book, you host a radio show about Spotlight on Success, and you're the director of the Public Speakers Association in Toronto. So, in the pursuit of that, you must have met many, many people. Can you tell us a bit about how you got into where you are right now and kind of the people that led you there along the way?
Yeah, sure. I did the normal thing. Grew up here in Toronto. And went to school, got good grades. I went to high school here, went to Great High School down the street. Used to be called the Central High School of Commerce. Now it's called the Central Academy. It's a girls' school, and at this time. And after that, I went to Centennial College. I took a 3-year co-op program, which allowed me to not just go to school to learn, but also work. I was making some good money back then, so when I finished school, I didn't have any debt. Then after that, for 10 years, I worked in the retail industry, and more as a shipper-receiver, and then sometimes in sales when needed. It wasn't something that was exciting, but a lot of lessons learned later on was very important. Then in 2003, I had an awakening. I was in front of my computer one night in front of Google, and I was very frustrated because I knew I could do more. Like there has to be more out there. So I typed in, where is there some networking events? Maybe I can go find a coach or a mentor. And fast forward, in those 6 months, I found 2 mentors. One was an internet pioneer. His name was Max Haroon. He ran the Society of Internet Professionals. And another gentleman named Terry Gogna. He had a retail stores, but he had sold them and started his joined a team to grow an online business. So between these 2 gentlemen, my life changed. Instead of having an ordinary life, I took a different route and began to have an extraordinary life. Fast forward to 2017, got into writing, became an author. Spoken all over Ontario, east, west, north, south, traveled into the United States to speak, which has been a great experience, and really took something of being a ability that I enjoyed talking to people, but took that to a next level where it became a passionate networker with a mission to not just meet people, but to collaborate and to do some amazing things with some great people here in Toronto and abroad. And that has been something that I'm very proud of. Has allowed me to really do something that has again garnered me recognition in many ways, and now I have the opportunity to pay it forward, which is really cool to mentor others, coach others, speak at schools, and build a couple of different types of businesses that allows to impact others and allows me to I don't know, live an amazing life, but allow me some choices and to travel a little bit. So that's the sort of Coles Notes version.
I mean, that's something that we all look for, the freedom to be able to pursue our interests and to travel and to move around. And that's something that, from what you've told us, you've very much achieved. And it sounds like a big part of that was the mentorship that you received at the beginning. So, I mean, I've been to a few of the networking events around Toronto, and I think one of the challenges that we face is that when we go to these networking styled events, we're inundated with all of these people and all of their ideas and their businesses and their new projects. And I think it's at times hard to differentiate between who are the people who are genuinely looking to mentor and guide people forward and who are the ones that are just trying to, get you to buy their stuff while you're there. How did you end up finding the two strong mentors that have led you kind of down this route?
It's a good question. Sometimes it's about a gut feeling, to tell you the truth. But what I did was this: especially with Max Haroon, I didn't actually meet Max. I got introduced to Max at a networking event by a guy named, I'm really grateful to, Ali Belushi. And why this is an interesting story is that everybody has a personality about themselves. And I'm grateful that Ali saw that I was someone who was eager, and he introduced me to Max. And what I did is, introduce myself to Max. I didn't say, "Can you be my mentor?" That's not what happened. What happened was, Max told me about what he did. He told me about this Society of Internet Professionals, and then we had a coffee up in Richmond Hill. I drove up to Richmond Hill, where he was living at the time. We had a coffee, and I don't know, he saw that I had that eagerness to learn and to be coachable. So the only way for me to learn was to be part of that journey with him. So that's where I made efforts to go out and volunteer and help out with the Society of Internet Professionals at events. I did some special projects for him, helped him work on the website. So I wanted to get him involved, and so part of mentorship is, in the beginning, it's not mentorship, it's you showing action. You have to take action. And in due time, he became that individual who was, for me, ability to give me the environment to succeed. And it doesn't happen overnight. He allowed me the opportunity to start my speaking career in 2008, to do my first talk, which to this day I still remember it very vividly. And so he gave me those opportunities, and I'm very grateful. And he, to this day, he is, we do see each other fairly often throughout the year, and he's like, you took it by the horn and you went forward. You were afraid, but you knew that you were going to have those failures, but you're going to learn from those lessons and move forward. And with Terry, it was the same thing. Was, in order to get Terry's attention, I had to take action. And I say that word action because that's what it's all about. And when I took action, I got his attention, his understanding, and his focus to do it. There was many other people who wanted Terry's attention and never got it because they never performed. And it was just that inertia that I wanted to do it. And I'll frame this with you, is at that time, and when I met these mentors, I'd started a new job working for a logistics company from 2003 to 2012. And I had other things on my plate. And there were some decisions some days of what am I doing? I'm working, I'm doing this, and I got this projects here, and that's where the criticism started from a lot of people. And you know what I said? Excuse my English. Don't give a shit. Sorry for the vulgar language. And because I was volunteer king, okay? I volunteered everywhere. And I don't care. I honestly tell you right now, sitting here answering the question for you, I don't give a shit. It was for me, not for them. I'm grateful that I did. Every minute that I did was worth it. And it was mine, nobody else's. Sounds egotistical listening to this, but I said, technical term, I don't give a shit. And, I've grown a lot since then. And the hungry people, the hungry ones, will show up. My mentor used to say that. Another mentor, his name is Casey. He says the hungry ones will show up, and you'll know when they show up because they're hungry. They're hungry to learn. They'll be the first in line. They'll be the ones there. And that's how I attracted mentors after that. In due years after that, new people came to my life, from Tom Kaufman, who was a mentor to me later on. Then after that, there was others, and now I have Tanya Hoffman. She's the CEO of the Public Speakers Association. I have Lisa Kember, and many more, and others, Randy Ramadan, and many more new people that I was just with Randy on the weekend. So you have to go out and do that. And you can't explain that. And that's why I go speak at schools, with Junior Achievement of Ontario. I do other extracurricular activities because I choose to do it. Yeah, we all have busy lives, but I'll put a little asterisk beside this because I actually taught courses in the beginning in 2008, actually, how to attract a mentor for Enterprise Toronto. I don't know what came through my head to do that, but I actually was teaching courses on what to look for in a mentor. And people were coming up. They had 30, 40 people in a class coming in to learn how to do it. So actually I was living it, but I was teaching it. I became that thought leader, which is the sexy term for that now. I didn't know that term years ago, so I read a book recently about it. So, but again, it's a process.
For sure. Now, what I want to dive into a little bit there is the concept of, it's a very, I guess, simple sounding question, but I think it's something that on some level, many people have wondered, and I know that I've wondered it. So I'm going to, I guess, challenge you a little bit on this concept of mentorship. Like, what is a mentor? Because is a mentor just someone that you find who happens to know more about a thing that you want to do? So you ask their advice and they're your mentor now, in which case, is every person you ask advice of on some level a mentor? Or is this a more formalized relationship that you put together with this person? It's something that I've asked myself as well. Like, what is a mentor? What does it mean to be a mentor? Is this just another buzzword like thought leadership? Is it another new and sexy term? Mm-hmm. Or like, what does that mean?
It's a good question, and I think I'm going to tell you that it evolves into a relationship of trust, because they have the knowledge. So Max and Terry had the knowledge of success, the knowledge of business. I had no idea about business. I got introduced to an accountant who was a tax accountant at that time who told me, sat me down and says, this is what you need to know about doing your taxes, blah, 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 blah. And to this day, I still follow his rules. And it's 14 years later, ladies and gentlemen. I've never had any issues with the CRA. Well, a few here and there, but nothing major. But it's a relationship. And it grows over time, and you have to have that gut feeling that you're doing the right thing. And I never doubted any of them. It took. I think that I earned their trust fairly quickly because I was willing to learn. I was hungry, and there was times which I was frustrated. One of the best things I've shared. I think I've shared this story at Mo Mondays years ago. I would call in to Terry and give him updates on every couple of days about what I was doing, how I was feeling. I remember one day I was calling him, and back then I didn't have a spine. I was very emotional back then. That's not a bad thing, ladies and gentlemen. But my emotions were on my shoulder, and I let out, this, good 10 minutes, just bawling, and it was frustration. I was crying, I was frustrated. And Taylor would call back, Jim, you're growing. And I would like call him back and go, what the heck does that mean? I let out, 20 minutes of this is going on, and you're growing. And I share this story now, and I've had people laugh and cry when I say this story to people. But at the end of the day, it was because I was becoming someone bigger, better, bolder. But I was willing to be authentic and honest. And Tony Robbins this weekend said in a different word, I can't remember the word. Oh, what are you gonna? Are you open to submitting yourself to being authentic and to being honest? And for some people, that is very, very hard. I got chastised and told by many people that I was too naive. I was too gullible. I heard those two words a lot. And for me, I said, oh, is that what you see? Well, you definitely see through a wrong lens. They could not understand what I was going through. They didn't know. I was reading, I was learning, I was growing, and pushed myself. And let me tell you, what the magic happens is when I transformed and I grew that spine over 5-6 years, I became that lion, that person. Everything changed. My professional life changed. I became not the person who was being run over at the logistics company. I was the leader, and people knew it. They were talking people who I was afraid of, 3 years previous. And that was then other sets of problems occurred, because once you're the leader, the other lions, the other leaders don't like that. Tough shit. So I had other things to deal with. And you know what? Constantly it was going in and knowing, I know I am right. I did too good of a job. When I was at the logistics company, I was doing too good of a job that people would criticize me at work. Jim, you're doing too good. You have to lower the bar. I swear to God, that's what they were telling me, some of the employees. Because they were doing the bare minimum. I was doing the maximum. And I got criticized for that. I was just thinking about it today, actually. I was just thinking about a manager I used to work for. And he used to criticize me. I go, you have no idea what you're dealing with. That's the confidence I was losing with me. I'm telling you guys this because this is real. This is uncut. And if you're ready to hear what I'm saying, then you will propel yourself to do best, to do your best and above. It's not easy, but it can be done.
Absolutely. No, I mean, I totally get where you're coming from. And we've heard tales of this. You hear tales of this about the idea of, it's not just you have to do well and you have to be the best or a leader. It's that you can't do too good a job or else that you get the ire of the rest of the people within that organization. I mean, all of this, everything you're telling us seems to come back to the concept of how you interact with the people you know and how you meet the right people and connect with the right people. And from what you've told us, it sounds like you spent some time connecting perhaps outside of your mentors with people who weren't the best for you and who weren't bringing out the best in you. So to loop this back a bit around to the concept of networking and building your network, not just externally as you try to meet new people, but nurturing the network that you have right now. I mean, let's bring this back. I mean, how does that work? Because I think networking is something that everybody needs to do and that we all recognize we need to do, but it's the how we do it that becomes challenging.
It's a great question. Let's see if I can answer this in a shorter period of time, because I think I went too long in my last answer. So it's interesting you mentioned that. I just got a call today from a friend of mine. Her name is Bonnie Chan. She is the queen of networking. She called me today regarding this question, actually. And man, I thought I thought this was going to go for 2 hours. And she says to me, yeah, you and I are good at it, but the rest are not. And it's regarding a situation that happened on the weekend at this event we went to where they had all these networking games, but she didn't think that it was being used effectively. So here's where the rubber meets the road. Networking is a skill that you have to do and execute. I have evolved into a master networker. What that means is because of the skills of personalities and understanding people and knowing myself and understanding that I need to learn, but I know that I'm hardwired some things that cannot be taken away from me. And so that allows me to do that. So I create a system called the PAR strategy about networking. It's presentation, attitude, response. And there's some other letters. But the main thing why I did this strategy was for me. But the funny thing that happened is I started teaching it to others and saying, this is what you need to do. It's simple. I started reading other books and talking to other networkers, and it's just something I did over and over and over again. Many of my friends don't even call me by my name. They call me the connector. You're a catalyst. You're a connector. It's gotten to that point. Now, that's a compliment. But again, how did I get there? Is I worked at it. And part of that from 2003 until today is I continue to grow those relationships. Yes, do I have some strong relationships? I do, but I've made an effort to work on those relationships, and they flourished. I've done some amazing joint venture collaboration with some great people. I mentioned Bonnie Chan, Randy Ramadan, and a few more. So it's evolved. And just in the weekend, one of my clients, I actually got him a VIP pass at this event, and he nearly hugged me. He's never hugged me, like he lifted me up. He was so excited because the pass he had was at the back where the peanut gallery was. I got him at the front, and he took me out for dinner after, and this and that. He was so excited. Now, this story is because I've known him for a long time, but I know that if I bring that value, it will get returned to me in another way, and he took me to dinner and all that. But it's not easy. It's not easy to fund relationships. You're going to go through some failures. And there was a number of people that I met on the weekend that I didn't even talk to this weekend. And they're very well known because I don't like their attitude. I don't like what they say. As a matter of fact, nobody actually went near them. So that tells you a lot. And that was a discussion we had on the weekend with some people. But you have to have, and I know I have the ability, but I've always worked at it. So it's something, again, that falls into the learning of the process of personal development. I think is important that everyone should do in some way. Some do, some don't. But that's where everything gets separated as time goes on. The real leaders, the real people who are doing it, those are the ones that are going to come to the top that you'll find you'll be doing stuff with. So to answer your question, is the people who are on the same wavelength as you, the same mental capacity, will rise to the top, and others who you met, 2 years ago, will slowly dissipate and move on. Just the natural way of growing your community.
Absolutely. I mean, it sounds like part of this isn't just finding the right people, it's making sure that how you project yourself and how you showcase your personality to other people is one that makes them want to connect with you in turn. I mean, I have to tell you, I attended this networking event, I think it's almost like a year and a half back now. This is back when I was first getting into the world of public speaking and becoming a better speaker and wanting to pick up clients and grow my network. And I met this one dude, and I kid you not, this dude messages me, even now, once every 2 weeks, once every 3 weeks. And his request is exactly the same as the first time that I met him. He wants to be my trainer. He wants me to come to his gym. He wants me to work out. And I mean, which is fine. I mean, I accept the reality that I could probably do with shedding a few pounds. But my answer has been exactly the same every single time. I'm sorry, man, it's not the right time. That's not what I'm looking for. And it's just nothing takes. Like, it's the same thing over and over and over again. And this is something that I've seen at networking events where the only response a person has is to hammer you with the sales pitch over and over and over and over again. So I guess in your pursuit of networking, in instructing on networking, I mean, do you have any horror stories from the networking world that you could share with us? Something that tells us, what not to do in that situation?
How much time do you have, Mo?
Man, I mean, I'm here at your pleasure, Jim. Hit me with a good one.
Well, you know, so here's how I'm going to answer that. I've probably been to more of my fair share of networking events. And I've been to more of my fair share of people I'd never want to speak to ever again. And it took me a while to deal with this. Actually, it wasn't easy because I had the same thing. I had people I run into. They just hammer me. Oh, you need this. Oh, you need that. You need to do this. And they would wear me down. It was wearing me down in the beginning because I really had nothing to come back on. So I would, they would waste my time either at the networking event, email me an event to go to, and because I was at everywhere, the gym everywhere was a joke years ago, and sometimes even now people, trying to convince me that I'm not, but that I'm everywhere, and I would fall for the same thing over again. I would be drawn into to that message. And I don't know why I would get drawn to that message. I'd come back and go, what the hell am I talking to that guy or that person again? After the event, And it took me a while to get away from there. We call them the networking fangs. That was the technical term, the networking fangs. And I think that as you evolve as a leader, that you grow that ability where you have to do that. So as a networker, what I do, and this happened recently. So there's a gentleman had the same thing. There's a gentleman. We're not going to name. We'll call him Michael. Is that okay? We'll call him Michael. That's not his name.
Oh, yeah. Michael's good. Michael's good.
Okay, but that's not his name. I'm using a different name. So Michael, I've done some business with Michael years ago. Okay, but recently, Michael, a couple of years ago, I had some stuff going on, personal stuff, and I knew about it because his friend Fred told me about it. And so then recently, I ran into Michael and a girl that I know, we'll call her Shelly. I swear to God, it was like the same thing. I said something to him about, I'm looking for a location. And he says to me, oh, you can use my location. And my friend who's beside me automatically literally grabbed my arm and twisted it. Like, literally, just like, we're coming here. And I was like, thank you very much. I know where to find you. I'll let you know. And I walked away. And my friend says, wow, Jim, that was impressive. He was on me for about 10 minutes saying, how the hell did you do that? He couldn't believe that I slithered my way out of the conversation. I said, I didn't slither my way out of the conversation. I merely said, thank you very much. If I need location, I'll let you know. Because when he does this, he expects you to call him on Monday and do it, follow up with him. But I knew he didn't mean it. I knew he was just making it up. He was trying to wheel me in again. I'm not falling for it again. And I will never do business with this gentleman because he a number of months ago he insulted me. And I was like, if you're insulting me, why should I trust you if you just insulted me? And he did. And he probably forgot about it, but even before then. So here's why I tell you this. There are people that you will not like. I'll say it again. There are people that you will not like, and you will see them pretty frequently. And you will have to be the consummate politician, I call it. Thank you, great to see you. Listen, I really got to see someone there. You don't have to be there. Your time is valuable. Don't let them take up your time, even if it's 3 seconds. It takes practice. It takes effort, but you have to do it because I was getting fangs. Like I would get their fangs, like literally my throat. That's what it felt like. So it happened, but you have to be cognizant of the situation. It does happen often? No, it doesn't. Right? and at the end, and we're talking a little negative here. We've gone down the rabbit hole, but before we end, I'm going to tell you a story about Waja, just to bring us back up again here. I got a great story to share about Waja because Mo is a great guy, and I'll tell you why at the end. So remind me, I'll tell you.
Well, I mean, I always do like stories about myself. So yeah, let's have her.
Okay, so we went down the rabbit hole. So we're going to come up the rabbit hole, ladies and gentlemen. So let me tell you about a guy named Waja. So I don't know. I would say I don't know Waja very well. Okay, maybe I met you Mo maybe a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago. Can you correct me?
Something like that.
A year ago, right? So I don't know Waja very well. So something happened late last year where I was speaking at an event, and it's called Mo Mondays. It was in November. Was it November, Mo?
November, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, November. So Mo was communicating me via email to prepare for this talk. The night of the talk, I'm there, all prepared. Mo had sent me the information, and I was ready. Okay, I was ready. But here's what I did. I saw the emails that he was sending me. I'm like, this guy's on board, right? And I hear this guy's good. I haven't heard him speak. I don't know if I heard you speak by then. No, I had not. I don't think I did. And so we go to the event, and Mo's there. And we got talking. And then I said to him, I said, yeah, my presentation is about 90% there. I told him, can we go to the back? I'll do a presentation. Remember? Do you remember?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, so I'm not, just correct me. If I'm lying, you stop me. So I said, let's go to the back, and this is the presentation. This is at the Hard Rock Cafe, second floor. We're at the front. We go to the back where we can see each other because it's very dark in the front. So we go in the back, and I give my presentation. I maybe 8 minutes, 8.5 minutes. He starts nodding, and then all of a sudden I saw his brain moving. So when you tell someone something, ladies and gentlemen, and you can see them thinking, that's what Waja was doing. And my heart went from my shoulder to my feet. I'm like, oh Lord, what is he gonna say? So out of his mouth he says, it's good. I think it's good, but here's a couple of tweaks. You have to bring them into the story. I think you said you got to bring them to the story. I said, okay, what do you suggest? Well, this part here, when you're in the airport, show them. Show them? Like take off my jacket? Yeah, there's a chair there, take it off. Things like that, because I have to bring them in the story. So that is his unique ability. That's his expertise. So I go on stage, and I'm nervous. I don't know where Waja was standing. I could care less where he was. I didn't want to know where he was standing that night. And don't even tell me where he was standing. So I do this. I grab the chair. I tell Michelle Nira I need to use that chair. So I'm not an improviser. I'm not an improviser, but that was, I guess, my first improvisation talk. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I went out and I did it. I brought them into my world, and let me tell you, people were laughing, they were engaged, and I was when I got off the stage and I finished my story, I was like, sat down. I was like, I don't know what I just did, but I hope it sounded good. And at the end of the day, my friend says, that was really good. I go, no, seriously, was it good? He goes, yeah. So I don't know if I went up to you after and I thanked you. And from that day on, that talk, the reason that talk worked, yes, it was my talk, but I was open to learn to make it not a 9, but a 10 plus. And that's the power of being coachable, listening, and not thinking you have all the answers. Because I could easily have said to him, I could not have said it that easily. I could have said, I could have been closed and said no, but I did. I'm thankful I did. That's the power of someone who's not just a leader, but is willing to learn. And for that, I'm grateful because that talk was a pretty good talk.
Cheers, Jim. Gotta end on a positive note. And I think you brought up a really important point there that, we didn't know each other very well. We had only met very, very, I guess recently, and it's being open to other people on that level, in that network, that allows you to connect with the right people at the right time to bring you forward, and to work together.
At the end of the day, is everything you've talked about, from diversity to networking to mentorship, they all kind of work with each other. And that's why I love doing these interviews, because it's a conversation, and I hope what you're hearing, you can listen and take action. So.
Well, I mean, I guess it's those very same tenets that led us to have this conversation today. Like, power of networking, baby. That's fantastic. So, Jim, before we close off, I have to ask you the one major question we ask at the end of every Toronto Story Archive podcast. And that is, if you could recommend one place to be or one thing to do in Toronto, what would that be? And I'm putting you on the spot a little bit here, but what would that be? One place to be, one thing to do. Where or what is that?
One place to be?
Or something to do. The only rule is it has to be in Toronto.
The one place that I love going to all the time is to visit our beautiful parks we have. I live near Christie Pitts, and I live near High Park. I cycle to High Park all the time from May to November. I love being around green, the forest, the lake, to get away, to kind of get some greenery. So that's a place to go, and a place to visit. Let's see, there's so many. I'm trying to think of something that's really cool to go visit. One place to visit would be, oh man, I'm trying to think. The places. Oh, I got it. The places that you least like to visit always hold a lesson. So there's two places that I don't like to go to. Ask any of my friends; they'll tell you. Museums and art galleries. You couldn't pay me enough to go to the Art Gallery of Ontario, Royal Ontario Museum, and the Science Center. You couldn't pay me enough money. Well, let me tell you, I went to the on Avenue Road in Bloor is the Crystal. It's a big. It's I don't know. It's a museum. What's it? Avenue Road in Bloor. It's a big expose. Crystal there, and they had this dinosaur exhibit last year, where they had lifelike dinosaurs, and I went with my brother, my nephew, and my parents, and I never stopped talking about the dinosaur exhibits for at least a month. I said, people, forget about Jurassic Park. You gotta go see these dinosaurs. You gotta go see the immensity of these dinosaurs. You have to go see the Velociraptor. You have to go. It was just an eye-opening experience that transformed me as to how big these animals were. Because you see them in pictures. And why I tell you this story is this is the guy who doesn't even like doing this stuff, right? But in that, there's a lesson that you can learn about history. It engages the conversation, and you learn something. And I've been there at least 3 more times after that, okay, with other people. Because it's always about learning. Always about learning. In Toronto, we have no shortage of places to go. But sometimes the places you least would like to go to may hold a special key in your heart.
I feel that. I mean, last year I took my fiance on Valentine's Day to the Ripley's Aquarium event. And I mean, I definitely learned what lobsters look like when they are dueling one another. It is really intense. Finding Nemo's got nothing on that scene. Like, you see that in real life, man, that's like a whole nother level. But yeah, no, Jim, that's fantastic. And you make a really strong point. You make a really strong point about the way we connect with people, about learning from the environment around us. And I think the most important part is being open to people, being open to connecting with people. And I mean, I guess knowing how to disengage when things, let's say, aren't ideal. I mean, I'm going to be honest, Jim, there's a strong possibility I'm going to rename this episode of Toronto Story Archive Networking, the Art of Being a Consummate Politician. It's a strong possibility, man. Strong possibility.
Oh my goodness! Oh, that's very funny to hear. I usually don't use that analogy that often, Mr. Mo. I do not use that analogy often, very, very infrequently. But sometimes it's necessary. It's necessary. You have to be that consummate politician.
But it's true. I mean, you may not use it often, but it is certainly accurate. It is certainly accurate. Thank you so much, Jim, for joining us on the show, my friend. It has been fantastic talking to you.
Actually, I really thank you for letting me be a guest. And yes, the stories were great to share, amazing to listen. And yes, sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, you have to be that networker with a dash of politician in you.
Absolutely. My good friend, Jim Pagiamtzis. So that's a wrap for this week's episode of Toronto Story Archive. Each episode, we bring on guests from Toronto to tell us a story, any story, about their life in the city. Our commitment is to not sell, pitch, or bore you. Our goal is to amuse, excite, and at the end of the day, entertain you with stories told by the many voices Toronto has to offer. If you have a story to share, please shoot me an email to submissions@torontostoryarchive.com. My name is Waja, and thank you. Thank you for tuning in to Toronto Story Archive.